Everybody, I wanted to come to you today with a little different video, and what it actually is a tag created by Away Girl. I do follow several channels that aren't strictly craft related or homekeeping related. I just thought this would be fun to participate, and I promised Organized Mama One that I would participate. And tomorrow being a Halloween, I thought I better go ahead and get it done. So what this is you're to list things that you're afraid of, or things that you may have phobias of, or or whatever, and the funny thing is I've watched several of these, and it is really funny to see what some people are just, deathly afraid of, and what other people don't think twice about. And that's the case of a lot of things. Like, I won't mention any names, but one person, just deathly afraid of the dentist. Well, I could go to sleep in the dentist chair. So that just is so funny to me, learn about different people. I named about 7 things, and I didn't practice or rehearse, so I'm just really going to mention these things off the top of my head and just tell you why I wrote it. All right, the first thing, in no particular order, the first thing is after dark. I am just point blank a scaredy cat, especially now that, I'm home alone a lot, and I don't like being home alone. I don't like being alone. It's after dark. I'm very uncomfortable. I don't sleep a wink if my husband ever has to work overnight. It's just a terrible time for me. I was single for about 3 years. It was just a terrible thing. I mean, I had alarm systems, and even here, we were wired up like Fort Knox. But I tell you, I'm still scared to death to be here after dark. Okay, the next one is, and I don't want anyone to take this in the wrong way, and it's just something that does scare me, but it's one of those things that's always in the back of my mind. And I call it a YouTube stalker. I've never had anything like that. I've watched a couple of videos of some situations where that has happened to some people, putting yourself out there and showing where you live and giving the names of your family and showing your children's faces and things like that. Of course, if someone wanted to find you, put forth that much effort to find you, they could. In most of my videos, and most everyone is a little cautious. We don't just blatantly put our last names out there and exactly what town we live in and things like that. But, if there's a will, there's a way, is the way I see it. And if I ever found that someone went to those extreme measures to find me, I would have to think twice about continuing with YouTube, just because it's scary. You don't know people, and it's just always in the back of my mind that if somebody really wanted to find you, they could. All right, the next thing is heights. I'm deathly afraid of heights. I've actually got a tad bit better with that as I've gotten a little older. If I'm in a secure seat, like for example, like a roller coaster or something, that doesn't bother me. But for me to be freely walking up sets of stairs and be able to look down, that my knees will literally buckle. It's just my legs won't work. I've been in those situations where I've had to crawl up walk up several flights of stairs, and then you can see down. I just cannot do it. And I can look out a window a little bit. Don't like it. And some of those glass elevators, not a big fan of those, but I really believe I've gotten a little better over the years, but for the most part, I would rather be on the ground. The next one is just kind of a funny one, and it's just a fear or phobia I have. I may have mentioned this before, that I suffer from low thyroid. Well, a huge symptom of low thyroid is hair loss, or your hair comes out. Well, lo and behold, every time, not every time, it really is not every time, but a lot of times when I'll cook dinner, the only person that gets a hair in their food is my husband. I don't know what it is, and it's almost a joke now. He'll pull it out, and I know that sounds kind of gross, and I have the worst fear of taking something somewhere and it having a hair in it. Anytime that I make something to take somewhere, I'll always put my hair up in a tight ponytail or a bun and make sure I have no hair on my shirt, any whatsoever. I've just got the worst fear of something like that happening and me taking brownies or whatever to somebody's house. Real cautious of that. Now, I have my guard down a little bit here at home, and usually my husband is the one that will find a hair. Next thing is I wrote Leo wife. Leo is an acronym for law enforcement officer wife. My husband is a sergeant with our local police department, and I would be lying to say that I wasn't concerned about his safety and things like that. And people ask me about it pretty frequently, how do I deal with that? And it's one of those things where, yes, it is a huge fear of mine. However, I know my husband, and I know that he lives for his job. He is passionate about his work. He loves his work. He loves, just making a difference in the community, which is almost like fighting a losing battle. But I know in my heart, without a shadow of a doubt, that he loves his job. And I know that this is what he was meant to do, and he loves it and passionate about it. As much as I would hate to lose him, I know he's doing exactly what he wants to do. I just have to go to bed, or when I kiss him every morning goodbye, I know that's the case. Okay, the next thing is just a fear of mine that stays in the back of my head all the time, and that is my health. Just based on my parents' health history, I've lost both my parents now, and a lot of their health issues were due to diabetes and heart disease. And it's just one of those things that I am scared to death that I'm going to suffer from that, and very likely so, if I don't stay on top of it. It's one of those things where a lot of genetics can play a part in it. I really do try to walk and keep my cholesterol down and all that kind of stuff, but it really scares me that of the idea of me experiencing heart disease or diabetes. And it's just, and that also goes along the lines of breast cancer. That's just one of those things in the back of my head that most any woman over 35 that starts the breast screenings, it just scares you to death to think that that's going to happen. And you just have to do the right things, be proactive and take care of yourself and examine yourself and all that kind of stuff. Just my health in the future, because I know if my parents would have really taken better care of themselves, they would not have passed so early, in their early 70s. I hope to live a lot longer than they did. All right, and the last one is kind of just common sense one. No cell phone. It's one of those things where it's got to where now, a lot of us are so attached to our cell phones that I would literally drive back home, and go get it, because, we have living in a lot of rural areas, you have some patchy spots and things like that. It's just one of those things. I don't know how I did it for 25 years, 20 years, half my life with no cell phone. It's one of those things where I'm highly dependent on it. It may give me a false sense of security, but I'm glad I have it. And I would literally drive back home, even if I'm almost halfway there sometimes, depending on how long I'm going to be gone and where I'm going and things like that. I would literally drive back home to get it. So anyway, that is a few things that I'm fearful of. Hope that if you are interested in doing this tag, you are more than welcome to. So I hope you learned a little bit more about me, and this was a lot of fun. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.